G'day coders, in this video we'll be building this nice QR code generator app, and here we'll be covering these crazy concepts. So let me demonstrate how this works out, right? So we're using Reactive Forms, so hence you can actually see this button as disabled if you don't have text in here. The moment you actually type in stuff, this then will be activated, right? So now let me just actually give in proper URL. So this is the URL to my Buy Me a Coffee link. Right, so the moment I actually generate this, shows this scanning animation, then goes ahead and actually shows my QR code. You can pause this video and actually scan it out, and this should send you to my actual Buy Me a Coffee link. And if you would like to donate to the channel, you can go about doing that. So this is what we're going to be building using Angular. Now let's actually get to the code. Okay, so the first thing I'd want to do is actually install an npm package. So this is what I'm going to run, this npm install, and then this is this ngqr code, and then I've specified this version because this is the one that's compatible with my Angular 17. So now I'm going to run this command, and this should actually install the package for me. Then the next step that I'll actually do is actually create a component. So this is going to be ng generate components. This is going to go to my components file, and I want this name of this components to be called QR code generator. Okay, awesome. So that should generate that for me, and now I'm actually going to serve my application. In here I've already put in some HTML to actually center stuff, because a lot of developers normally struggling with centering a div. So I just don't want to spend or waste time doing that, right? Because that's not the purpose of this video. Then I'm just gonna save this up, and this should be up and running. So in here you'll actually see the text that's set up in here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and actually start writing the code for that. So this is gonna be a QR code container. Then I'm just gonna put in some skeleton for now. So this is gonna be my form group class. Inside my form group class, I want to have an input box. Alright, and then here I want to say enter your URL. Okay, and then the top of it, I just want to have like a label which just says submit. All right, okay, this is all good, pretty much like that. And then in here I'm just gonna have a QR code section. Okay, then underneath this I'm just gonna have like a button which says generate QR code. Awesome. So I've got this nice looking UI, but this is just the skeleton for now, right? So the next thing I want to use is this package that I actually installed, right? So this is how I actually use this package. But the reason why that's throwing an error is because I need to actually import that package module, right? That QR code module. Then that should actually fix that issue. What I need to pass is a value. This is going to be my QR code, and then an error. Just going to say error level. Set up by default is actually M. So now in here, I'm going to have this string value, which says this is an HTTPS link. For now, just say it's local host. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so this will then show this QR code for us. All right, so what I want to fix right now is actually how I actually go about removing this background color, that white background color. So how we go about doing that is in here we've got like a directive that says this is a light color, and we want to set a hexadecimal, right? So this is going to be set up to that. It's an RGB, right? So if I want to say 99 on the G and that, and save. This should be a green color, right? Because here in the G, I've actually set that up to a higher number, but I want to set up the alpha to be 0. So this would then allow me that actual color to be a transparent color, right? So now you can see it's actually transparent. Doesn't really matter what values are put in here, but then that color is actually transparent now. Okay, so the next thing I would use is an image source, and this is coming from my assets and QR code.gif. Okay, so now you'll actually see this Giphy showing here, which is going to be used for our actual loader. So the next thing I want is the width and height of this to be 300 pixels. And that should be fine. And then the size, here the size is also going to be set up to 300. Okay, so that's going to be 300 pixels on 300 pixels. So we've got a nice looking UI, but we just need to do some stylings, right, to make it look pretty cool. So this is going to say QR code container. This is the QR code container. So this is going to say display flex. Flex direction is set up to be column. And here, okay, then padding is going to be, well, the padding here is going to be 32 pixels, right? The background color is going to be set up to be a white color. The border radius, so we want to set a border radius of like what, 16 pixels. So this is fine. With that border radius, we want to set a row gap of like, well, 24 pixels. So okay, awesome. So for the form group, then we want to also display flex. The flex direction is going to also be set to column. The gap here is going to be 16 pixels. So this is the gap between the label and the actual input box. And now you can actually see that's all good. So now we can then go ahead and actually style this out, right? So let's see, when I click on this, it gives me this actual blue outline, right? So to remove that, I just need to say the outline is set to none. I want to set a padding, right, to be 16 pixels. Okay, awesome. Border radius should be set up to 8 pixels. Then the border is going to be 1 pixel solid and an RGB A of 0.000.4. That's the opacity, right? Okay, didn't set the right. Okay, no, it's solid. Okay, awesome. That's actually pretty cool. So what I'm gonna do here is the font weight here is gonna be set out to be 500, and yeah, I think this is pretty cool. Okay, so what's the next thing that I want to actually set out as the label text? So for the label text, I'm gonna say the font weight is 700, right? The font size should be set out to 18 pixels. And that's pretty much all I need there. Okay, interesting. And then the next thing is that I need to do is, okay, so I'm then gonna have the stylings for this QR code section over here. So this is gonna set the width to 300 pixels. The height also is gonna, oh no, sorry, my bad. So the width here is gonna be fit content, and this is also a fit content. Okay, and then the border is set out to that same border that I've set here. So now if I just copy and paste this here, let's actually see. Okay, awesome. Then I want to set a border radius of 8 pixels. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's basically what we need for now. Oh, nope. And a padding of maybe 16 pixels should be fine. Awesome. Then there's actually, okay, before I go there, I want to set the stylings for the button because our button is not looking all nice, right? So the button, I want to see the display flex, justify contents is center, align item to be center, the padding, so the top and bottom is set to 16 pixels, left and right is 0, right? Then when I have a background color or blue color, but I'm just gonna change this up. So if I go here, okay, wait. So I wanna do this, change it up to that, maybe give it a bit of this nice looking color, and then that shouldn't be too bad, right? Okay, so if I actually save this out, you'll actually see that I've got that nice looking color. So now I'm gonna say the actual text color in that button is set up to be white, outline is none, so then the border is also set out to be none, and the border radius here is going to be 8 pixels. Now also we've got this nice button, so we're going to set a font weight of 500 and a font size of 16 pixels. Okay, now this should give us this nice button. I think this looks pretty cool, right? If you want, you can just go ahead and actually change that color, right? If you feel like it's not nice, you can, okay, no, that's gonna be too bad. Okay, you can just change it up like that, save, and yeah. Okay, so basically this is what we need there. I can actually increase this text color to 18. Yeah, this is pretty cool. But there's actually something in here, right? So here we want this text to actually change this QR code, right? So there's two ways to go about doing this, right? So you can just say use this ng model. So if you ng model use this QR code, that's going to give you an error because you actually haven't utilized this forms module, right? So the moment you say forms module in there, that should be fine. And this is actually using the two-way binding, right? So now if I change stuff, you'll actually see that the QR code is actually changing, right? But we don't want to do that. Right, so what we want to do is only generate that QR code if the user actually clicks on this generate button, right? So how to center this to the left and right, what we want to do is set this margin to auto. This should actually bring it up in the middle. Okay, awesome. So now let me just remove this and you'll actually see that. And let's actually go ahead and actually also remove this guy. And there's a couple of things we want to set, right? So we're gonna have a handle generate, well, let me just handle generate QR code. Okay, so now we're gonna have like a form control. Yeah, you can just basically name this anything. Right, I'm gonna say this is a form control equals to a new form control, right? This is gonna be an empty value when we start, and we want to say the valid status set to required, right? So that field is actually required. Now we're gonna change this two-way binding and actually use like a form control, and then say this is that form control. You can actually name that QR code form control or something, right? Okay, let me just say QR code form control, right? So if I use this, there I get that error, and that's because we haven't imported Reactive Forms module. So if we actually add the reactive form module, you actually see something. Okay, so there's one thing we also want to do, right, is set that disable state. So we want to say disable this button only if, so we want to disable that button if this value is actually null, right? So if this QR, so I'm going to come here, QR code form control is invalid. So it's going to be invalid because if this value is required, right, and there's nothing in there, right, so that's disabled, but we're not actually seeing it as disabled. The reason why is here in our actual stylings, we actually haven't specified that. So if we come here and say disabled, so this should be disabled. Then we'll just implement the style, which is 0.2. Okay, so now you'll actually see this, but the moment I actually type in this button should then be activated. I also want to set a cursor pointer so that when I hover on this, it actually shows that. Okay, awesome. Let me see. There's something else that I probably want to do. Then we can do this also, this change. We can say this is cursor auto, right? So that when it's disabled, it doesn't show that button as if it's clickable, right? Okay, but the moment you type, then you should see that pointer. Okay, awesome. Now let's go ahead and actually implement that functionality, right? So this .qr code is equal to QR code form value. So what's going to happen now is the moment you actually type anything in here, click this generate. Okay, no, that's not going to work because I haven't actually linked to this click state, right? So if I say click at this, so now if I type in here, click this, this will actually now show this. So if I type something else, click that, that should change it up, right? But this loader has been showing, right? So we need to add in some functionality on how to go about showing that loader. So I'm going to have this is loading, which is going to be set up to true, nope, false when we actually start out. Okay, then the moment I click on this is loading, I want to set it up to true. Okay, now what's going to happen is if I type, click this, that will then go ahead and actually, okay, no, I made a mistake. I haven't actually tied in that functionality, right? So I need to have an is loading. So if it's not loading, so if this isn't loading, then show the QR code. But if this is loading, right, they show that animation, right? So now if I type in here, click that, that will show that animation and it won't actually close it off because here I haven't set the state to that is loading to false. But I'm actually doing this on purpose, right? So now that we're actually setting the is loading and then also setting it to false, I just want to show you something real quick. So now I'm going to type something, click that, and you didn't see the loader. The reason why is this is happening too quick, right, for the naked eye to actually see it. So what we're going to do, we're just going to add like a 2-second wait period, right? So what we're going to use is the set timeout. We're going to set it out to 2 seconds. And what we're going to say is only set the is loading to false after 2 seconds. So now when you just run this, click this, this will show the animation, then show your actual QR code, right? So that's all proper, but there's actually something, right? So if I reload this, you're seeing this UI, right? So the reason why we're seeing this UI is because of this div, right, which has padding and that border box. Well, the border, right? So how we go about actually solving this issue is we only want this to show when is loading is true, right? or when we have like a QR code. But when we start off, the QR code is going to be null. So what's going to happen is when we start off the application, the is loading is set out to false, the QR code is also null, then that means this condition won't be met and all of this stuff won't be displayed. So now you see that it's actually removed it. So now if I say that and then I just go to google.com, if I run this, this should actually give me a QR code for googles.com. If you scan this and actually click on the link, this should actually open up Google. You can test it out. And maybe there is one thing I'd probably want to do, right, is generate another QR code. So I'm just going to use a link. So I'm just going to use my buy me a coffee link. So this is actually my buy me a coffee link. So if I just then generate this, this will show you this QR code, and if you scan this, this will send you to my actual profile. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, you can actually send your actual donation. So yeah, that's it. We've actually created this nice, stunning mini app. If you're new to the channel and you actually like this content, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now, peace.